So I've been playing Starfield and Fallout 4 lately, and something always feels off, unlike Fallout 4 or Skyrim. The biggest problem with Starfield isn't the bugs or even the loading screens, Hunter. It's the writing. The dialogue is wooden, emotionless, and forgettable. NPCs just talk to you about something the player character should not care about at all. You know, going into details that has nothing to do with the immediate quest that you're on, or whatever they do share with you will be immediately forgotten, as all the NPCs are just so forgettable and boring. Characters don't talk like real people, they talk to you like exposition machines. No personality, no nuance, just walls of bland text and generic voice acting. When I see options for the dialogue, I don't even look or read all the options, I just glance to see what looks like the most positive, nice, or agreeable option just to wrap things up. They often go into tangents when you are first talking to a vendor just to sell items to them, and they feel the need to tell you their entire life story and like where they grew up. No, lady, I do not care about you at all. I just want to sell this heap of garbage that I found earlier to make some money. I remember a talking selling point for this game back in 2022 and 2023 was Bethesda bragging about how many lines of dialogue were in the game, something around the ballpark of like 250,000 lines. Now, I like story and voice dialogue just as much as the next person, but I generally get bored and nod off when an NPC seems to go on and drone on forever. Mass Effect and Dragon Age, yes, and even Veilguard were examples of really good, get your attention, carry your progress along type dialogue, develop interest in the world and the characters. And even Veilguard, while having extremely cringe and awful dialogue, was at least short and sweet, and you didn't have to stare at the NPC for too long, and the dialogue would get wrapped up pretty quick. Thankfully. Often you'll run into random NPCs running about in these little outposts saying like, I need you to go to a mining outpost. There have been problems. I can't say what. Just go. Okay, Radiant quest accepted, I guess. Now that's not a conversation, that's just a fetch quest in disguise. But this has been a problem forever for them. So Fallout 4 may have had not great voice lines in story, but at least it was somewhat interesting, tied to what you were currently working on. And they got to the point and they pushed the narrative along. Yeah, Nora doesn't always say what she means, or Nate, but I've asked to prefer that to the walls of text that I get when I talk to an NPC and just get completely overwhelmed. I'm at the point where I don't even care what anyone says anymore, and I just skip dialogue, even if I'm streaming or doing videos. And this is coming from the same studio that made Fallout 4. Like, that game got roasted for its dialogue system, the infamous 4-wheel button. It was like yes, no, sarcastic yes, and more info. I honestly would have rather had that than what we have right now. Even so, Fallout 4 still managed to give characters a bit more edge. There were actual personalities, like Piper, Nick, Preston even had some charm. I know that's laughable, but you could argue with them, joke with them, even piss them off. Starfield's characters, they just stand there, they're like robots with social anxiety. And there's like a lack of evil or negative karma companion that really sucks, meaning that you can't actually play like a space pirate if you want. You can't play any way. It feels like you don't have any agency, like you have to, there's like 4 options on the dialogue that you have to click, and they're all relatively the same. You can't actually say no. Like you can tab out and just leave and they'll still want to prompt that same conversation later on down the road. And then you look at Baldur's Gate 3, a game that had like a fraction of the budget, and the writing is, it's not just good, it's like incredibly memorable and sharp. Very human. The characters feel alive, they react to your choices, they change, they grow, they hate you, they fall in love with you, they'll even leave your party. All through dialogue. And it's not just the companions. Honestly, every random NPC you meet in the game feels like they have a story, and a really interesting quest. But in Starfield, if most of them feel like they're just waiting to be dismissed. Bethesda's writing has always struggled when it tries to be serious. Their best moments are when they embrace weirdness, humor, or dark absurdity like Fallout New Vegas or Skyrim's Danger Quests. I almost think that they tried too hard to make the story and dialogue better, ended up making things way worse. And it was never really their strength to begin with. You know, Starfield tries to be grounded and mature, but it just forgets to be interesting in the process. Don't get me wrong, the world of Starfield is beautiful. The premise was interesting. It looks amazing. But none of that matters if you don't care about the people in it. And it doesn't matter as well because you'll be so bored playing, you'll never see the end. You know, all the people always talk about these new game plus 10s and just, I've never even been past the first one. I just get so bored when I'm talking to NPCs, I just check out. You know, you're just going to travel across the galaxy and talk to cardboard cutouts. No, we're not asking for Shakespeare by any means. You know, we just want characters to talk to, dialogue that feels real, choices that matter. You know, Bethesda can still make incredible worlds. They just need to fill them with people worth listening to. So I want to thank you guys for if you've reached the end of the video here. This is one of the many problems with the game that I wanted to address first is the dialogue. I think it's the most important because the dialogue was something they overhauled the most, and I think it backfired on them terribly. People said they like it more, but I would rather have like quick and short voice dialogue than just NPCs that just talk forever and ever and drone on, and then, you know, it's your time to speak as it would be. There's like a wall of text that I can guarantee you probably not a lot of people actually read all of it. And I've actually like selected an option, went upstairs, made a drink, grabbed some food, came downstairs, and they were still talking. I feel like it's a lot of wasted and useless dialogue, like talking about stuff that nobody cares about, talking about stuff that has nothing to do with whatever quest you're working on, or, you know, the immediate problem that you have, or anything to do with anything at all. And I find it just very tiring, you know, because like it's just I don't care. I'm not going to remember this character 2 hours down the line. I'm going to completely forget about them. And I feel like that's wasted because the writers just spent so much time and energy working on this stuff. And I'm not even sure who asked for this, really. But anyways, subscribe for more modded gaming deep dives and critiques. Going to be doing a lot more of these in the future. So this is Modverse signing out, and thank you so much.